Welcome. This year is dedicated Lilu Nishmas V'Chalei Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. Last year we spoke about encountering and facing up to the Yetzer Hara. Today we're going to continue on this theme. Harigat HaYetzer Hara hu al yedei yirah. Okay, the only way to kill the Yetzer Hara is through yirat Hashem. So, as we know, there are different levels of yirah, beginning from fear of consequence, moving up to an inner fear of Hashem. V'kashem adam lasot v'shelo lasot al yedei ha'gazah v'ha'yirah shaveret yisrael v'oseh neged b'tzano k'mo shekatuv v'yeta elokim ani yareh. So the reason why yirah is so central is that yirah is enough to break a person's will. So I want you to understand this. I'm sure this happens to everyone now and again, that we're in a situation where we feel almost compelled to do the wrong thing, where we know very well what we're doing is wrong. We had faced up to the situation more than once, but here we are back in the same situation, making the wrong choices, not because we don't know, but because we just don't have the strength to do what's right. So what would an example of that be? A person could make many resolutions. No matter what happens, I won't raise my voice. And as they raise their voice, they're saying, what am I doing? But what the other person did is so aggravating, and their response is so infuriating that it's over. So what that comes from isn't intellectual misperception. So focusing intellectually on the evils of anger is not going to do it here. The problem is imagery. That the person's inner imagery is, if I don't stand up for myself, then some terrible thing will happen. When there's a parallel image, which is what yiras Hashem is, since yirah is an emotion as opposed to a daya, then you could stand up against it. So if a person is really afraid to do the wrong thing, even if their fear is the lowest level of fear of consequences, that often will give them the strength to do what's right. Okay, Shebezeh shavaret v'tzano. By saying this, he's demonstrating that he broke his will. So who said this? Okay, so this is coming from Bereshis, with Yosef, who's acting out the role of an Egyptian ruler, who's saying that he's not going to arrest all of the brothers and punish all of them. No, he'll only punish the one who stole his cup, because that's the one who's guilty, and I fear God. I won't unreasonably do anything. Now it says in a completely different context. At the Akedah, Hashem says, now I know that you fear Hashem. Meaning emotionally, he certainly loved his son very deeply, but his yiras Hashem was able to break even the will to preserve his own son's life. But through this that he broke his will. And he wanted at that time to slaughter his only son. And when a person confronts the Yetzer Hara forcefully, with their Yetzer Tov, through using the weapon of yirah, at that moment he's doing several mitzvot. This is where we ended off last time, because yirah is mentioned in the Torah 52 times. So that means, what difference does that mean? So, as you know, there's a rule, Gadol ha-mitzuveh v'oseh, Mishen ha-mitzuveh v'oseh. Greater is he who's commanded to do something and does it, than someone who does the same thing without being commanded. So why is that? So the reason why that's the case is that a command forces you beyond your own limits. If you do something voluntarily, you do it until you reach the point where it's no longer what you want. But if it's a command, you go as far as the will of the one who gives the commands will is. Okay, so yirat Hashem is given us as a command 52 times, equaling the gematria of the word ben. It reflects our being Hashem's child, being connected. And thus hearing is mentioned also 52 times. So now we're going to hear some discussion on this. A person can't come to true yirah Hashem without studying Torah. As it says, an ignoramus fears no sin. Now the word for ignoramus that's used here is bor, which is related to the word bor, which means an empty pit. A person whose mind is empty has no yirat chet, they have no sensitivity to Hashem's presence. Because the Torah is what fills the empty space within a person's mind with sensitivity to Hashem's exalted nature and greatness. V'tuvo, and his goodness, v'chasto, and his kindness, im hanivraim.